Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Chris, and I hope you are having a great weekend. So, I wanted to give a little bit better view of some of the stuff that was in that box from yesterday, mixed in with some of the stuff that I've shown on my channel previously. And as I'm sure you know, when you try to lay out your stack and kind of, especially when you have a pretty diverse mix of what's in your stack, it takes up a lot of space. So this is just kind of like a snapshot of what was in that box mixed in. But what I wanted to talk about today is um, you definitely hear a lot about why stacking makes sense, why it may not make sense with the high premiums, things like that. You have people saying that oh, you should stack now before there's nothing left to stack, or before it's ridiculously expensive and you can't get into it. I think with a lot of things like that, there's so much hype these days, and I think a lot of it is just that even the older generations are getting more into like the technology and like being able to use the like social media or things like YouTube or things like that. And of course, the younger generations have grown up, have never known any different. So, there's a lot of information out there, but at a certain point, it does become kind of overload. I was watching a video by Two is One earlier that he was talking about that you have channels where they just parrot the same thing over and over. And one of the examples he gave was like Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff, if you don't know, he's obviously an investor. He has his own fund called Euro Pacific Capital, but basically he's a huge precious metals and especially gold advocate. And he's always going to say that you should be buying, no matter what. You should buy, you should buy, you should buy. When I first got into stacking, he was one of the big ones that really kind of enlightened me to it, why it's important. And he even taught me some things that I personally didn't know, such as, I believe, up until 2015 or something like that, or maybe even later, gold was the best performing asset since the year 2000. That was pretty interesting because, again, I mean, if you look at housing and other things, like there's a lot of other asset classes that you could have put your money into, that where you would have thought, based on how much hype they get, that maybe those would be the best performing things to put your money into. But same thing with other channels. They're constantly saying either, oh, you should be stacking, or you shouldn't be buying at these prices. And of course, as with everything, the answer is somewhere in between. You gotta do, of course, what's right for you. You shouldn't, be extending yourself financially to be purchasing precious metals. But my opinion, and again, you know what they say about opinions. My opinion is that if you can, you should expose yourself to some. What that means for you, I can't tell you. So, like, for me, as you can see here, there's a huge variety of different, bullion that I've picked up over time, different things that I like. I have a bad habit of buying things that I like, for example, these Eagle proofs. I like them. And I'm not a big fan of the regular Eagle. So the proof, really stands out to me as something that when I see them, I'm like, oh, that mirror finish, it looks pretty interesting. So forgive the truck passing by, I apologize. But yeah, when I see those kind of things, it's like, oh, I don't know why, I feel like I have to move on the purchase. Same thing with like things like these, like the gold like this, bars. When I first started stocking, I was really big into bars. Then I kind of tried to get into coins like the gold Eagles. I'm a big fan of the half ounce, which out of all of them is probably the least cost effective because it has a high premium. It's not very sought after, and yeah, there's not a big market for it. But the size, to me, like, I think it's perfect. But it is what it is. Again, that's the thing when I say about what you should purchase. It's going to be up to you. A lot of people, like when I first started stacking, we're talking about just buying like silver Eagles. Oh, you can't go wrong with silver Eagles. The thing with that now, with that strategy, if that's your thing, is that the premiums are insane on Eagles. So it's like, I don't think that's the way to go for me personally. This, of course, is a platinum Eagle. Platinum is one of my favorites. And then this over here is also platinum. I've got a little bit more platinum. In Britannia's, I have another Valcambi bar of platinum. But a big fan of it. I like it, but also, like I said, I've been really meaning to get more into gold. But if you're new to stacking, or if you're kind of thinking about getting into it, if you can go to, like, honestly, you've got to familiarize yourself with like your local coin shop. The reason is not so much that you know, that would be your go-to for buying, but the reason is because it's going to give you a good idea of what you're looking at when you go to buy silver, when you go like on APMEX, JM Bullion, SD Bullion, whatever your preferred site is. It's going to give you a good idea of like what these products actually look like. And you know, at the coin shop, you can go touch, you can go see, you know, what is it that you're putting your money into, versus when you buy online. When I started, just purchased online, and I was happy with that. I mean, I like the idea of getting something that someone else hasn't had before. You're basically getting a new product for most of the stuff from like APMEX, JM Bullion, those kind of things. But now, after, you know, I've put a good amount of money into stacking over time, like even things like these, like over this last year, I was able to come upon these, which are just Canadian silver, constitutional silver. And with these kind of things, I really see the value. Like these Voyagers, at the time, I was getting them pretty close to spot, which is awesome. I mean, for the silver content. The other good part about things like this is like you don't have to worry about handling it. Whereas like if you buy like rounds like these, or you know, coins or things like that, for example, something like this Canadian maple, we all know the maple. This one has, I think it's just a regular maple. The security feature makes it look kind of nice, but something like this, like it's just bullion. It's meant to be a bullion round. It's nothing special about it, but other than I'm a big fan of the Royal Canadian Mint. But something like this, like even though it's just a bullion coin, like you feel weird when you handle it. You feel like you're not supposed to, or that it should be kept, you know, flip or a holder or something like that. And I mean, that's probably true. See right there, I dropped it. But something like these, you don't have to worry about that. They were meant to be circulated as currency, and so you can handle them, you can do whatever you need to. Storage, you don't have to worry as much because it's just bullion. Now if you end up going with something, you know, more expensive, like these guys, like the Queen's Bee series, even things that are pretty much a bullion coin, but they, you know, they've spruced it up, like these reverse proof maples. Again, big fan of these. Those kind of things are more expensive, so you're not getting your bang for your buck in a time like right now where everything's expensive. Even, you know, the bars that you purchase, for example, these are like super generic, like the Sunshine Mint bars. They look nice, I'm a fan of them for generic, looks good, I like it. But also these Royal Canadian Mint bars, more expensive, still 10 ounces of silver. But again, when I look at my stock, I want to like appreciate what's there. Obviously this guy over here, Engelhard, is much more expensive if you buy it. Johnson Matthey, I was lucky to be able to find this guy at a good price. And then like these, like the APMEX bar, this is like the replica of the Geiger bar. These kind of things, you're putting more money into something which really it's purely for the visual, because the silver content's the same. So at the end of the day, like if you're going to sell it, I mean, realistically, like if I took this stuff to the coin shop and was like, look, I need to liquidate it, I, with the experience that I've had, would, you know, not just give it away. So like if they were like, we'll give you spot for everything, I'd be like, yeah, no, unless it was an emergency, which, I mean, nobody can help that. But that being said, like, you know, that really is the expectation you should have when you're purchasing these things. Like it's kind of like, for lack of a better way of thinking of it, like think of it like with a car. Like when you purchase a car, like, you know, as soon as it goes off the lot, like you're not going to get back what you paid for it. It's similar here, except that these are not depreciating assets typically, so you don't have to worry too much about that. They're still going to have their silver content at the end of the day. Same thing over here, gold, platinum, doesn't matter what it is. So really though, like when you hear about investing, like everyone on the, you know, on the different channels talks about investing in precious metals, investing in gold, silver, like you're investing. Is it though? Is it really? Because I would say, my argument would be, these are just basically wealth preservation. These are basically just storing your money in something that is most likely going to keep pace with inflation. Again, I'm not your financial advisor, but these things are not really, in my opinion, going to skyrocket. Although I've been watching Mike Maloney for a long time, and he's been telling me that gold and silver are going to be, gold's going to be $10,000 an ounce, and silver's going to hit $500 or $1,000 an ounce. I'll keep waiting, but it's not really going to affect how I stack. My question is, like, when you have things like this, like for me, I would say my issue is I have a good amount of bullion. The bars are very straightforward on how to, how you keep them. But things like the nicer stuff, like the maple proofs, or the Canadian Goose down here, those kind of things, how do you guys store them? Even like these kind of things, like these kind of proofs. It's nice. It's really nice. But the thing is, like, how do you store these guys where it makes sense? You know what I mean? The problem for me is that I have a lot of bullion, and then taking it out to do videos or to look at it. And again, because I've put more money into things that I actually like to look at versus if I had a stack full of just eagles or generic rounds or things like that, it's kind of like I'm stuck in the middle. Do I put them in something, like, do I put them all in like protective things like the capsules and basically just have a stack of capsules? Or do I put them in a tube and just not mess with them? I don't know. I don't know if there's a right answer to that. Forgive the noise, I apologize. But that's the kind of the dilemma I'm looking at right now, is the storage aspect. So I don't know if there's one right answer for that. And I'm not sure what other stackers are doing. Like I said, the bars are super simple. It's super straightforward. There's no ambiguity. You can stack these bad boys up in a safe or whatever. But the coins are a little bit different. The other thing too is obviously I keep the platinum, gold, and like other metals like palladium, those kind of things, separate from the silver stack, just so it doesn't get mixed in there. So I don't know, there's so much going on these days that, like I said, like, I think if you're getting into stacking like constitutionals or junk silver is a great way, because it's low maintenance, the price is usually right, like shockingly different. Like I said, like these guys are got pretty much close to spot, whereas even something like these generic rounds are going to cost you like $34. These are pretty nice examples of like a generic round, but still, even so, like it's just not worth it if you're new to stacking and you're just trying to stack weight. Me, I've seen both sides of the coin, and I've learned lessons about, like, for example, the Queen's Beast round that really, I don't know if it was worth the price, but I do like it, and like these kind of things are something that I plan to keep ideally. So that's pretty important moving forward. Like I said, making sure that these are things that I like to see in my stack. Anyway, that's it for today, and I hope you have a good one. Take care.